All right. So the reason I'm recording this is one that you will probably end up going back and rewatching. We're going to get into some technical stuff pretty quick. Before we dive into Measure Square, I do want to do a quick transfer in. So I'm just going to ask, what has been the best thing that's happened to you personally this week? So the business is the business, but from a personal standpoint, what's the best thing that's happened to you this week? And Josefina, I'll start with you.
Let me see. For me, I think that it was the weekend that we went to the beach. That was fun on Saturday.
Nice. Armando, how about you?
I've been trying very hard to think. I guess my life is so great.
It's hard to pick one thing.
Exactly. But I don't know.
All right, you have to think of something. I'll come back to you, but
All right, yeah.
Dan?
Dan's on mute.
Dan will figure out his mute button.
So just as you said that, Arlen, Measure Square finally launched right over the top of this meeting. I couldn't get it to me much. Hopefully he's not listening, but kind of a combination. In my warehouse right here is my son, who's 15. And today will be the first day that he is really going full time with one of my installers as an assistant. And it was a realization that the little boy is now 6'2", 185 pounds, and willing to work his tail off. So that's pretty cool, kind of a convergence moment for me this week when that struck me. So
Nice. Greg, how about you?
Oh boy, it's been a rough week. I'm trying to think of something positive that's happened. Yeah, just some good times with family. It's been brutally hot out here, so we went to the pool over last weekend, so that was nice. And yeah, that's about it. I guess I have a boring life.
There you go. All right, well, keep it between the dishes. Let's see, Michael.
Yeah, pretty similar. Just I guess some pool time with the family last weekend. Some good R&R time. So that's about as exciting as it's been for me this week.
Nice. All right. Let's see. We got Roland out of bed. So Roland, how about you?
Trying to can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
So Dina's new grandson is with us, so I was trying to stay away from where I would wake up the baby.
Got it.
I mean, for me, I broke the 12,000 mark on a single job, so that was a good little ceiling. I hadn't gotten a lot of even opportunities for that size, and to pull it in made me it was a good start. That was on Monday, so it was a good Monday.
I like that. Portia.
It was actually the co-op, even though it's personal and it's not personal. The meeting last week with the co-op, shredding proposals, and then also preparing my kids off for college. My daughter is going to college, so helping her pack. It's bittersweet.
Oh yeah, it is. Where's she going to school?
UT
Oh,
in
okay.
Austin.
All right. So she's not too far away.
No, she's excited. Yeah, she's very excited. She's going to be a teacher, so.
Fun. All right, David.
Yeah, we got the family loaded up last Friday. Got all 4 kids. I got three of my own, and then my 7-year-old nephew with us. And yeah, we've been having a great time. Duck, dodge, dip, diving, and dodging the kids, answering phone calls for work, and actually just looked at. I closed 3 deals while I was out here. So
Nice.
So that's been good. 2 nights ago, I didn't sleep because I couldn't get a hold of any of my installers, because next week I've got 3 installs going on.
one on Monday, 2 on Tuesday. So I was not getting any calls back. I was losing my mind, couldn't sleep. Yesterday, they all got a hold of me. Everything's coming together. So I slept well until
Nice.
5:15 this morning.
Right, there you go.
So,
And then I messed that up. Good.
yep. I get back on Friday, and I've got our Tour de Terrace, our local event here in Mount Lake Terrace. I'll be at that all day Saturday. So I'm looking forward to setting a lot of appointments and firing into August like gangbusters.
Nice.
It's gonna be good.
Nice. All right, Armando, I promised I was coming back to you. So the best thing that's
remember.
happened to you in the last
I
week.
got 3 deals. I got 3 deals in the same week.
Okay,
I didn't think that
Okay.
ever happened before. So yeah, there you go.
there you go.
Something to celebrate.
All right, so we are going to dive into Measure Square. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the theory. We're going to dive right into the how do you do it. And then once we've sort of gone into how do you do it, then we'll spend some time talking about why would you do it. Okay. So the only theoretical stuff that I'll give you, this will take 30 seconds or less. When you're on the tablet and you're running a seaming diagram in the tablet, you are actually running Measure Square, but you're running what I like to call Measure Square Lite. In other words, you don't have all of the features of Measure Square, you don't have all the functionality of Measure Square, but it's the same programming, it's the same back-end engine that's running Measure Square on the tablet versus what I'm about to show you. The difference is on the tablet, you don't have all the features. You don't have everything that you could do if you were to do it on the laptop. Now, back in the day, when I had my business, I literally carried a laptop around and did Measure Square in the home. The tablet didn't talk to Measure Square. The two things were absolutely separate. So if I was going to do a seaming diagram in the home, I had to do it on the laptop in the home. So I guess you could say I got good at doing it because I did it every day. But we're going to spend some time looking at this. I'm going to show you how this is used. And then we're going to spend some time talking about why you would or would not use it. Okay. So hopefully you guys can see this, and I would hope that you are logged into Measure Square and you're following along, because that's where this is going to make the most sense. And again, this is part of the reason why I like to record this one in particular, because it is one that you might actually go back and rewatch to say, wait a minute, how did he do this or how did he do that? So as we draw we're going to draw some rooms here, and it's going to look and feel very similar to what the tablet does. So let's just start with a square room. So I'm going to come up here and you'll see there's a box that says draw rectangle, and I'm going to hit the bottom half of that box. So there's the top half and the bottom half. The bottom half of that box where it says draw rectangle, I want to do a rectangle by size. This is the most common thing, and this is what you normally do in the tablet. It looks a little bit different, but it's close enough. So let's say that this room is 15 feet, 6 inches wide, and it's, I don't know, I'm making numbers up as I go, 18 feet, 4 inches length, and we'll call this a living room. And now that pops up, and I can drag this around the screen, and I can drop it wherever I want to drop it by simply clicking. Maybe we'll make a couple of these rooms. I'll hit this drop down again and hit rectangle by size. This time I'll make a little smaller room. We'll call this one 10 feet by, oh, I don't know, we'll make it 13 foot 6 inches. Maybe this is a bedroom. And again, I can sort of drag this around and I can drop it into place. Okay, so it's not terribly complicated. If I want to make a square room, I'm simply going to hit the bottom half of that box and hit rectangle by size. And I'm simply going to be able to draw whatever size room I want to draw. And maybe this is another bedroom. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Now I can pull these all the way together and put walls on top of each other, but I'm just going to leave a little separation here. I find that it's actually a little easier to look at things when there's just a little bit of a separation there, but it's okay one way or the other. Well, what if I want to draw a shape? So instead of worrying about boxes, I want to actually draw a shape. And by the way, you guys stop me at any point if we need to stop or slow down. But you'll notice over here, there's a draw button. Now I'm going to start with the top half of this. And I'm going to click on the top half of this box, and you'll see that that gives me a pair of crosshairs. And so I can free draw this. So for example, I could just come in here and I could click, and now I'm just moving the mouse and click and move the mouse and click. And I can sort of free draw this, and you'll see that as I'm moving the mouse, you know, I am getting numbers here. So I can sort of see what's going on, and I can, you know, who knows, I can make this a funky shaped space and close it there. And who knows what this is? I don't know. We can call it a hallway if you like. Now, you'll notice at the bottom of the screen, so up here it says it's room 1, but I can go down here to the bottom of the screen and I can change this and call it a hallway. Okay, so that's good. Well, I sort of free drew that. And for the sake of what we're doing right this minute, that works really well. But the reality is that you're trying to, you know, when you're drawing spaces, you're trying to get to an exact number. So let's say I'm trying to get to 25 feet 2 inches. Well, the problem is when I get out here and I start trying to get my mouse to be exactly 25.2, sometimes it's hard to hit that exact number. Well, what if I want to type the number in? Well, I can do that. All I have to do is start moving the mouse in that direction, and then I can go to the keyboard and I can type 25 feet 2 and hit enter, and now it locks that in. Now, the system thinks that now every wall is going to be 25.2, and I can do different angles if I want to. So it's sort of driving me crazy right now because it's going nuts with these different angles. I don't want 25.2, I want 4 feet. Okay, well, that's fine. If I just go to my keyboard and type the number 4, it changes it. Okay, so don't get too concerned that, oh, wait a minute, this 25.2 is stuck. No, it's not stuck. I'm just going to make it 4. And again, when I hit enter, now it's doing the same thing, but it's doing it now off of 4 feet. Well, all I'm going to do is move the mouse so that the wall is moving in the direction that I want to move it, and then I can type a number in. If it bothers you that you can't see what it's doing, I'll show you a little hint. Way up here at the top right, you see there's these 2 little arrows all the way up at the top right. And if I click those 2 little arrows, it's going to give me a drawing panel, and you can see what's up here. So if this is driving you crazy, you can just come up here and delete that out, and now you're back to whatever I want it to do. Okay. And as a matter of fact, I can come up here and I can put the number up here. I can say, I want this next wall to be 10 foot 6 inches. And then that's what it's going to be, is 10 foot 6 inches. And I can come over here and make it go in the direction I want it to go. Okay. So you've got plenty of options here. By default, you know, the angles that are here sort of snap to certain common angles, but you actually can do custom angles in this box over here if for some reason that was important to you. So this is not, it's certainly not terribly complicated, but you can play with this and, you know, see what you like, see what you don't like, and whether or not you feel like you can use it or not use it or whatever. Okay. Now somebody is going to ask, is there a way to take the drawing from the tablet and simply import it into Salesforce? Or excuse me, can I take the drawing from the tablet or from Salesforce and simply import it into MeasureSquare? Right this minute, the answer is no. However, that is something that IT is working on. And I would expect that here, maybe even within the next couple of months, that you will be able to do that. But for right this minute, it's not there. But they're not far from it. Okay. Questions so far?
I do have a question. Can you, so one of my installers actually use this system. Can I, when I send him the information, or is there any way to extract the information from the tablet to where he puts it into MeasureSquare?
No. So right now, the only way to get the drawing from the tablet into Measure Square is to redraw it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now, you could though, I mean, literally, once you've done a couple of these, it'll take you 5 minutes to draw an entire house. I know that doesn't seem possible because it took you 45 minutes in the home to do it, right? But the reality is that now you're not in the home walking around measuring, you have it. The way that I like to do it is I have my tablet sitting over here to the side of me, and I just pull the drawing up where I can see it, and I come over here and simply copy it. It's really quick. So you could simply make the drawing in Measure Square, save the file. You got the little save up here. You could save the file and send him the file if you wanted to send him a Measure Square file.
Okay.
Okay.
Harlan,
Yes.
you don't know this, it's okay. I'm sure it's Googleable, but I know that Measure Square has integration capability with some of the more advanced laser measuring devices, because Measure Square has an app for Apple
Yes.
and Android, and you can integrate that so that when you go around and do your measures on site, it actually goes into Measure Square. And
Right.
do you have any experience with that, or can you speak to it? Because I'm just looking for any way to streamline, any way
So
to.
that has actually been tried. And what was found is that so yes, you have your laser measure, you hit the button and it goes in and it's like, oh crap, that's not the right number. And then you take it back out, and it actually ended up being a lot more time than it was just to measure and put the numbers in.
Okay. All right, cool.
So
Thank you.
sometimes automation save time and sometimes they really don't. And
Sure.
this was one where it really didn't save any time.
Got it.
All right, so let's do something else. Let's add stairs. I know nobody ever sees stairs, right? Okay, so you can do a stairway, okay? And if I look at the drop down, and I'm not gonna touch every one of these, but there's some really cool stuff in here. If I just do the left side of this box, the big box for stairs, it's just gonna give me a default set of stairs, and I'm gonna come over here and just drop it in, okay? And then if I click on it, then you'll see the property view changes over here. And this is where I can go in and say, oh, this is actually 15 stairs. And my stair width, when I measured it, it was actually 3 feet, 8 inches. And the covering style, if I'm going to do carpet, so you've got waterfall, which, by the way, waterfall and Hollywood are the same thing. You've got waterfall or full wrap. Okay, so normally it's just going to be one of those two. It's either the Hollywood waterfall style or it's a full wrap. I'm going to put mine on full wrap. Okay, and so I've got this staircase. I move it around or whatever, and I've got my property view over here to the right hand side. But you'll notice with the little drop down, there's other things you could do. Like you could do quarter turn with curved treads. Ooh, that's kind of cool. I could put those in there. I could do a half turn with radius, a half turn radius landing, okay, for whatever that's worth. So if you walked into a house and this is what the landing looked like, instead of simply forcing it to be a square, you could actually put it in with a half moon. Honestly, it's not going to change anything. I probably would still make it a square because, I mean, if you think about carpet, what are you going to do with these two little edges of carpet? They're going to be scrap anyway. So it's not like that's really going to change what you're ordering, but you can do it. So it's there. So I'm going to delete both of these two little weird ones. All I did is click on it and hit the delete button. And so off they go. And we're just going to play with these shapes that we've got here. Oh, we missed doors. Let's put some doors in. So up here, you've got your door menu. Now, by default, if I don't do anything different, it's going to automatically default a common style door at a 3-foot width. Well, let's see what that looks like. If I do that, then you get a door and it actually shows you the way the door swings. But if you put a lot of these swinging doors in your drawing, it makes it look pretty cumbersome. You can do it. By the way, to get rid of this, I simply hit the right mouse button to drop whatever drawing tool I have. What I normally like to do is I like to change the style to no leaf. This is personal preference. It doesn't change anything in the system. And then that way, when I put my door in place, it just puts the doorway, and I'm not worried about the swinging of the door business. And I can put my doors in the hall, that's fine. Whatever I want to do here, right? This is a bigger opening, but I'm too lazy to go in and make a bigger door, so I'm just going to put 3 of them side by side. And once again, to get rid of the tool, when I'm done with it, I simply hit the right mouse button and drop it. Okay. All right. So again, let me stop here for a moment and just see what questions have you got so far?
We use this because it's going to be more accurate than the.
We're going to
tab.
get to the why momentarily.
Okay.
Yep. We're going to get to the why momentarily. Okay. Any questions about the sort of the button pushing we've done so far?
I do have a question, like the one with the strange stairway where it was like an archway.
Mhm.
In Texas, we have those sink-in living rooms, and
Yep.
sometimes it has that step that's arch. Could you use that to kind of make that sink-in living room step or
You
no?
could. Yeah, you could. Yep.
That's good to know.
All right. So let's put carpet in here. Now, when over here on the left-hand side, you've got your products over here, right? I would never do this for laminate or tile or vinyl. One of the things about Measure Square is that Measure Square, this is built like for somebody to be able to create a house. I mean, architects use this to do the whole thing. And as a result, Measure Square has a lot of stuff in here that we're never going to use. I mean, it's a really, really big package, and we're going to use like 5% of what it can do. So, you know, laminates and tiles and vinyls, it's just not worth messing with. But carpet, absolutely. Now, when I hit the little plus button to open up my carpet folder, you'll see that there's broadloom carpet, there's carpet tile, there's pattern match. Let's open up broadloom. I've got a bunch of them here because I keep creating them. I'm going to show you how to create one. You probably only have 2 or 3, so let's start by creating one of these. So I'm going to click on broadloom because that's where I want to be. And I'm going to hit this little plus button. So this is create a new product under the selected folder. So I've selected broadloom because that's where I want it to go. And I'm going to hit the plus button. And it gives me a product database. So I'm going to make up a number. You get to make up whatever you want to. So I'm going to call this, I don't know, carpet number 9. It doesn't really matter. It's just something that hasn't been repeated in my own list. And then in terms of type, well, it's carpet. So that's simple enough. So I'm making carpet number 9 and it's carpet. Now it gives me this, gives me the item info screen. What is the description? Well, if I want to write a description, I can. I'm going to say this is a, some people will put the actual carpet name. I don't think there's a lot of value in that, but I'm going to say this is a 12-foot wide, no pattern. All right, good. And what is the color? Well, this is not the color of the carpet. This is just the color that's going to show up on the screen. So it has nothing to do with the color of the carpet. I just want a color that, you know, is going to stand out from some of the other colors that I've already picked. And I like the brighter color so that I can see through it. So let me just pick that color. Why not? Units or square yards, that's great. Carpet width. Well, this is a 12-foot wide carpet. What is my width margin? So normally a 12-foot wide carpet only comes in 11'9" worth of usable carpet. So I want to give myself a width margin of 3 inches. I can also give myself a length margin. So on the length, if the system says it's going to be exactly 10 feet, do I really want 10 feet or do I want a little bit extra so that the installer has a little bit of wiggle room? So I'm going to put a 3-inch length margin. So this is pretty typical. I want a 3-inch width margin. I want a 3-inch length margin. Now, if it was a pattern, I would put in a horizontal repeat and a vertical repeat. I'm not going to do that right now. We'll come back later and create a pattern carpet, but for right now, I'm happy just to leave those as blanks. You'll also notice down here at the bottom, you've got the opportunity to put in pricing, but I'm never going to use Measure Square to create an estimate. So I'm not going to worry with that. I'm going to hit save. And then the X to exit out. So there we've created our carpet number 9. And if I want to put the carpet in these rooms, I'm simply going to drag it over here. And you'll notice that it has put it in that room. Now you look at my cursor and I'm still carrying the carpet around. So now every room that I click, it's simply going to add the carpet to that room. And it dynamically changes how I'm going to install the carpet because it's trying to find the best way to install it. I'm still carrying this around. I'm going to hit the right mouse button to drop it. And now I've got carpet in all of these rooms. And if I click on any one of the rooms, it shows me the cut pattern at the bottom. It gives me the cut diagram at the bottom.
How did you select the carpet and bring it into the, I can't do that, bring it into the room?
So come over here to the left,
Yeah,
grab it. So left mouse button, grab and hold,
oh,
and then just drop it into the first room. And then once you've done that, it'll still be with you and you can click on any of the other rooms and then right click to drop it.
got it, sorry.
All right, so does everybody have something? It doesn't have to be exactly this, but does everybody have something and has a cut diagram at the bottom? Okay. Now, so far we haven't done anything that you couldn't have done in the tablet. So now let's do some things that you can't do in the tablet. Let's say that this room, well, I'll tell you what, let's do these. Let's say that these 2 bedrooms, they're actually upstairs. So the stairwell comes in and these 2 bedrooms are not connected at all to these other spaces. Well, in the tablet, it says that all the carpet has to run in the same direction. And that's true if all the carpet is going to touch. But if these 2 bedrooms were upstairs, those could be run vertically, right? They don't have to be run horizontally. So I can change the layout direction for these 2 bedrooms. I could come up here and say layout direction, and I can switch the layout direction and make that, oops, let's do it this way. And I can force those 2 to be vertical for whatever reason. Now, in this particular case, it really didn't change the waste factor. In both cases, we had a 15.5% waste, but that's okay. It's given me the opportunity to see this. Now, one thing that happened when I did this is I noticed that it put a couple of T-seams in this hallway. Well, maybe I don't want that many T-seams. I can come up here and delete T-seams. So up here where it says T-seam, I can click the delete button and I can come down and I can delete these 2 T-seams if I don't want those. Right click, and now what have we done? We've gone to a 17.4% waste. Okay, so I went from a 15.5% waste to a 17.4% waste, but I got rid of 2 T-seams. Yeah, it's probably worth it. Okay, I'm probably okay with that. Now, if it had gone to a 40% waste, then maybe, you know what, we're going to live with some T-seams. This allows me to go in and play with seams. It allows me to change things around. It allows me to instead of having everything going in one direction or the other, it allows me to manipulate that for rooms that are not touching. Now, if the rooms are touching, you have to be the adult and you have to make sure that they're running in the same direction. But as long as the rooms aren't touching, it's fine for the carpet to go in different directions.
Arlen, I have a question at that point that has come up in the group me just recently. I'm not sure if it was one that you were in or not, but someone said, maybe it was Ashley, said, are you guys, overestimating on your carpet a little bit to avoid shortages? And, only a couple of people responded, yeah, they are, because they got burned early. So
Yep.
if we're in a house and the measure is 14 foot 2 inches, and we just always fudge 6 inches higher, or right, that kind of thing, how dramatic might the impact be with something like this? Because I would rather err on the side of caution, but if it like completely skews the math on the cuts, because I'd like to get to the point where we can use these cut maps as the religion, you know what I mean? I don't have 300, I had an 890-pound roll of carpet delivered here because we had to cut it on site because I didn't trust my cuts.
So this is what I would say. Let's get into the why, okay? Let's get into the why you would use this tool versus the tablet. And maybe I think this will help answer the question. I have never, ever heard of someone being short if they went into Measure Square, the full-blown version of Measure Square, and did what we just did. I've never heard of anybody being short. Okay, if you've created your carpet so that you've got a 3-inch length margin, you've got a 3-inch width margin, so you've got the margins built in, then I have never heard of somebody coming up short. You'll notice in Measure Square, what is this? What is this little thing here, Dan? That little bump in the carpet.
What is it?
Yeah, what is that little bump?
Well, I'm guessing it's either a window indent or
Door.
Well, I didn't
it's
draw any.
a doorway.
Yeah, I didn't do windows.
Yeah,
right?
doorway. Yeah.
Right. So this door, you'll notice one of the things that Measure Square does that the tablet doesn't do. Measure Square takes and adds that little extra couple of inches in for the door. Right? The
Yes.
tablet doesn't do that. That's why when I first taught you guys how to measure, I said measure to the middle of the doorway.
Yep.
Why? Because I knew that you were using the tablet to start with. And so you needed a little extra space. If you're simply measuring drywall to drywall, you're not measuring enough space, right? So that's why initially I teach people to measure from the middle of the door. Now, if you're going to use Measure Square, you could actually measure from drywall to drywall. And if you went back into Measure Square and drew your rooms, those extra little 2 inches here or 2 inches there, you're not worried about them. So getting into the why, this is not, I want to be careful here. This is not like Floor Coverings International is telling you to do this. This is Arlen as an experienced franchise owner telling you this is the way I ran my business. You guys decide how you want to run your business. For me, I told my design associates, never use the seaming tool in the tablet. I just said, don't bother. I told my DAs when they'd come back from Atlanta, because at the time DA training was in Atlanta, they'd come back from Atlanta and say, oh, look, I found this cool thing that we can do. We could do the seaming diagram in the tablet and that'll save a bunch of time. And I'd look at them and I'd just say, yeah, it's broken, don't use it. And so they'd never use it, okay? So what does that mean? That means that for like a big space, they would automatically get an 18% waste on carpet. If it was a smaller space, it might be a 20 or 22% waste on carpet. And I know 100% that there's going to be some times when I go into Measure Square and draw it, that I'm going to be better than that 18%. And sometimes I'm going to be worse than that 18%. But on average, I know I'm going to be fine. Okay. So, I mean, you look at this as an example. Let's say that a design associate landed this job and they landed it with a typical waste factor for this job. This is 148 square yards. So I know the tablet says anything over 100 square yards, you get an 18% waste. Well, look at this. I even got rid of 2 T-seams and I'm still below 18%. But I'm also not so high that if the DA had quoted the job at 18%, that they're way overshooting the estimate. No, it's pretty close. Okay, so I trained my design associates, never bother running the seaming diagram in the house. Just don't do it. Take whatever the tablet says as a default, use that as a default. I don't care. So what does that mean? Now I'm setting myself up to draw every carpet job that they land. Okay, but I'm not drawing every hardwood job that they land. I'm not drawing every laminate job that they land or every LVP job that they land. And I'm not drawing the carpet jobs that they don't land. I'm only drawing the carpet jobs that they land. So how many carpet jobs, Dan, how many carpet jobs did you land last week?
2.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So you probably had, if it takes you 10 minutes to do this, you probably had 20 minutes that you could have done this.
Yeah.
Right?
But
In
yeah.
other words, it's not a huge time sink to say that on jobs that I land, I'm going to go back into Measure Square and I'm going to do this. And frankly, this is something for the office manager to do. At some point in your life, it's something for your office manager to pick up and do.
But it does turn it back on the DA, or in this case, me, to not use just general rectangles when I'm doing my carpet measures. You sort of do have to, because I do.
Not necessarily, because if you look at this, like this weird shaped hallway, I mean, look what's going to happen. All of this, that's this space. I mean, that's scrap anyway.
Yeah, okay.
So the reality is, let's do this, that weird stairway. Let's do that half turn radius landing thing, right? Let's put one of these in here for fun. Okay. And let's see what happens when I put the carpet in here. Right? So what's going to happen? It's just going to be a square anyway.
Got it.
So that's why I say you can do this, but does it really help you to do that? Not really. I mean, at the end of the day, that's going to be, what are you going to use the rest of that for? You can't.
Right.
It's all going to be scrap anyway, right?
Sure. And that makes sense. And that's actually really great. So going back, just to clarify, so if I, if me update or upping the estimate, just by a few inches in each room, I don't need to do that. I can, once I start doing this, I can go drywall to drywall, or can I still round up to the next 6 inches, for example?
I wouldn't bother rounding up to the next 6 inches.
Okay.
I would go drywall to drywall. You've got in the carpet itself, if I open up this carpet again, I've got a 3-inch width margin and a 3-inch length margin. Right? So what does that mean? That means that I'm adding that extra 3 inches. So this C1 bedroom is what, 13 feet 6 inches in this direction. What's it doing? It's giving me 13.9. So I don't need to add 6 inches. I've already done that in the length margin. Width margin, this bedroom's 10 feet wide. This is telling me 10'3". So it's already giving me that extra 3 inches in each direction. So I can measure drywall to drywall. I can put my doors in, and I'm going to have a very, very accurate cut sheet to be able to give someone. I've never, ever run short when I came back and used Measure Square. I have run short out of the tablet.
So I had to drop for a second. I apologize. I've sold my biggest job ever on Friday. It's about 3,500 square feet of Cali, and that was the trucking company making the appointment for tomorrow. Very important call. So I'm sorry. I had to drop for a second. But yeah, thank you for that. And I'm going to be living in this recording, I can tell already.
So this, I've never had a job run short on carpet when I use this. I've had jobs where the installer looked at it, especially if it was a really, really tight waist. They look at it and say, man, I don't know if we have enough space. I don't know if we've got enough carpet. And I showed them this and they're like, yeah, okay, it works. It makes sense.
Arlen, did you ever use this to order smaller cut rolls from Shaw, for example? Because since we don't have a forklift,
Yep.
The big beasts that show up, it's hard.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So I can take this and I say, look, A is 15'10", B is 15'9". Maybe I put those two together on a roll, right? This next one's 14 foot, this one's 14 foot. So maybe I get a 28-foot roll for this, right? So absolutely. And again, this is one of those, I would never, ever trust the tablet to be that precise. I just don't. Maybe I should, but I don't. But when I put it through Measure Square, when I do this, this is just geometry and I can see exactly what it's doing. Now this makes sense to me. And I can pull this and I can see exactly what we're going to do and how it's going to be cut. And I can show this to the installer and the installer says, yep, that makes sense. Now, Dan, the downside of you pre-cutting a bunch of stuff, right, is that it's not about the measurements, it's about the carpet itself. If you had a carpet that, let's say, had a little defect in it somewhere, if you have it all on one big roll, the installer might be able to cut around that defect. If you have a little defect somewhere and it's on a smaller space, there's less of a chance that he's going to be able to cut around it and work around it.
Sure.
So I would still be in favor of getting the biggest rolls that you could possibly handle.
Yeah.
But it may not be what is this roll? This is a 140-foot roll. It may not be a 140-foot roll. Maybe I break this into 2 smaller rolls instead of 6 smaller rolls.
We actually had to have that giant roll delivered to a competitor, and they were gracious enough to offload it for us and load it onto one of our farm trailers that I obtained later in the day.
Go to Harbor Freight and get a little winch. You'll be all right.
Oh, it was a beast. Thank you for clarifying that for me so thoroughly.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So again, in terms of the why, this is, again, I'm not telling you to do it the way that I do it. I'm trying to give you a perspective. For me, I did not trust the tablet when it came to ordering product. And so frankly, I told the design associates, don't bother with running the seaming tool. Now, what's going to happen? Next week, you're going to get called out. Let's draw this out. You're going to get called out to do a small job. And this is going to be like a 6-foot by 10-foot carpet job. It's going to be one little space, and you're going to get a carpet. I'll use a different color carpet. I'll use a different one. So I'm going to put that one in there. And then you're going to call me up really, really pissed off. And you're going to say, oh, that didn't work. Hold on. Let's change the size of this room. Better. Okay. So you're gonna call me up and you're gonna be really, really pissed off because you're gonna say, look, I went and I ran and I did exactly what you did in Measure Square, but look, I've got a 46% waste and the tablet only gave me 18%. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna happen. But the reality is, look, this is $0, right? When you have that situation, chances are it's because you've done a really, really small job. And it means nothing in terms of dollars. Yeah, the percentage looks high, but it's nothing in terms of dollars. And by the way, this is how you would do different, let's say I have different colors carpets going into different rooms, or I have different carpets going into different rooms. That's fine. I can put different ones in there. So now I've got this going on in this space and I've got this going on in this space. Okay, that's cool. So this is like any other new piece of technology. You have to get in and start using it before any of it really makes sense. I would encourage you to get comfortable using this. I would encourage you to use this every time you order carpet, whether you're using the seaming diagram in the tablet or not. I would encourage you to do this before you order the carpet to make sure that you're ordering enough and that you really understand what you're doing with the seams. Questions?
Yeah, the carpets that are loaded in already, do they have the correct excess?
Probably
range of-
not. I'm not sure what you see as a default. It seems like some of the defaults even have like glue down. So some of them talk about adhesive and cove base and weird shit. I'd just create one. Let's create a pattern one. So I'm going to go down here to my pattern carpets. And down here, I'm going to hit the plus. And this time, I'll call this carpet pattern number 5. And again, it's carpet. And this time, I'm still going to put in my 3-inch margins. But now I'm going to put in my pattern. So let's say this is like a 6x9. So 6 inches by 9 inches, not 6 feet. Good night. 6 inches by 9 inches. And hit save. Close that. And so now let's do this exact same space with my new carpet pattern number 5. You're probably not going to see a big difference. There is a difference though. So now I've got let's turn the bedrooms a different way. So now I've got a 25.6% waste. So I've got a bigger waste factor here. You can see that oh, wait a minute. I've got these other spaces in here that I left. That's all right. But now we can start to do some what ifs. So I'm at 25.6. Let's change. I want to select all these spaces. And I want to change the layout direction. I want to reset the layout direction so everything's going in the same direction. I'm at 24.1. Now, just for fun, and I mean, this is something that I would actually do. I'm looking at this space and I realize that this D1 room, it's got this big piece that's sticking out. And this is part of what's making this such a big waste factor. And I remember in the house that this space, it's not that terribly used. So I could probably get away with putting a seam in here. So I might come up here and purposely put in a seam. So I'm going to create a seam right here. And then I'm going to move this seam over. I'm just going to drag it over here to this corner so that I can see what that does to me. And I'm down to a 19% waste. All right, well, how did I figure that out so fast? Because I've done it a lot. And it takes a little practice to do this, but all I did was I added a seam right here so that I could cut off that piece and pull that from somewhere else. And that helped tighten everything up. Now, if this was a main line hallway in the house, maybe I wouldn't do that. But if this is just sort of like an extra little bit of the room that doesn't get used that much, hey, why not? Okay. The point is, you can't do that in the tablet. You don't have that kind of flexibility. Here you have the flexibility to play with things. What if I wanted to make everything run vertical? All right, well, let's select all the rooms and layout direction. I want to switch the layout direction. Put them all vertical and see what happens. Oh, that's horrible. All right, so my waste went down, but my God, look at all those seams. Installer's going to kill me. No, I can't do that. Switch it the other way. You want to see something fun? I can turn the, let's just pick one room to do this with. Let's take the living room. Layout direction. I can put it at an angle if I want to. I'm not really sure why I would do that, but I can. Seems like a silly thing to do, but okay. Maybe you've got a room that's the way that, you know, the customer really wants it done that way. Okay, you can do it. You can't do that in the tablet, but this gives you the ability to do things that you can't do in the tablet. So you've got a lot more flexibility here than what you do in the tablet. And you can see what's going to happen with your waste up or down, or how many seams am I going to have? How many T-seams am I going to have? What happens if I add one here or add one there? I'm going to put my T-seam back in this other little room right there. Boom. Now I'm down. I've got a 19% waste on a pattern carpet And if I'm not mistaken, the tablet would have given me like a 22, maybe a 24% waste for this. So I'm still better than what the default was. Questions? All right, so what I would encourage you to do is take maybe the next carpet job, or maybe you've landed a carpet job that you need to order carpet for. I would encourage you to run it through Measure Square. You get stuck, give me a holler. I'll be happy to help you through it. One of the neat things about this is you have especially you have a drawing that you've already created. So you took it out of Salesforce or you took it off your tablet and you redrew it here. You absolutely can come up here and save this project. You can save this file, and then you can send me the file. And so I'm not having to redraw it. I simply take your file and we can play with seams together. And I've done that for many, many, many owners where they've come back to me and said, okay, can you help me figure out what to do with this or do with that? And then we open it up and take a look. This is never going to help you with tile or vinyl or LVP or anything like that. This is really just for carpet and for sheet vinyl. It will absolutely help you for sheet vinyl. So it's really just things that are seamed. And yeah, there's a lot of other stuff that's up here. Measure Square is a huge piece of software. If you go out to YouTube, there's whole channels that are devoted to people that are drawing in Measure Square and all kinds of good stuff. So there's a ton of support that's out there and you're welcome to go out there and look at it. It's all good stuff. It's just, you don't need it. The point is that most of the stuff that you're going to see in Measure Square are people that are estimating jobs with it, or that are doing, walls and windows and roofs and everything else. And you don't need all that. For what you guys need, all you're looking for is the carpet and sheet vinyl seaming tools. None of the rest of this is going to really help you. So how would I communicate this to my installers? Normally, I simply take a screenshot. So I'm simply going to take a quick screenshot. Your computer probably has something like a Microsoft snippet or something on it. And I just take a quick screenshot like that. And then I can take that screenshot. I can add it to my work order so that the installer sees exactly what I saw when it came to seaming it. Anything else?
Do you
What was your-
recommend, oh, sorry.
Go
Arlen.
Go ahead, Portia.
Portia, please.
Do you recommend, like, for instance, I do have a carpet install. I did already order my carpet, but like I was saying, my installer used this. Should I go back and create this in the software and then send him the diagram so he can see exactly?
Well, this one, okay, so what would be fun is, I don't know that I necessarily send it to him, but what might be interesting is for you to take that one as sort of an academic exercise. It'd be interesting to take that one, draw it, run it through Measure Square, and compare it to what you've ordered.
Gotcha.
Right? Just as a way of saying, okay, I'm not going to necessarily change that order. That order is sort of in the history, but let me see what I would have done if I had done this.
Okay.
My question is more general, I guess. I've been fortunate that we've only got one 2-person carpet install team that I've used so far. They're not real tech savvy, and they don't expect this type of diagram. What should we expect going forward? Is this, Portia's already run into somebody who uses it. Are a lot of the guys using this, or are some of going to look at us like we're adding complexity to their lives?
Well, I'll tell you with mine, I would give this to him and he would look at it and say, okay, yeah, I've got enough carpet. And then he'd throw this in the trash and go do his own thing. Okay, good. For your guys, what's going to be important, especially if you take now we've pushed this up to where this is 145 feet of carpet. If you're gonna order this already cut up into pieces, you're gonna have to give them this so that they know where those pieces go. Right?
And that's where we could side mark those rolls, right?
Yes, you can side mark those rolls, okay? But that's gonna be really important to be able to communicate, hey, look, the bedrooms, well, let's see, the living room, let's just do this. The A2 hall, the B1 and the C1 bedroom are all on this piece, right? But notice that you've got this other little piece of the hallway, which is coming from over here. So it's gonna be really important if you cut this, like, let's say you cut it right here.
Yeah,
If you cut this to be able to show this to the installer so that they understand, okay, part of the hallway is coming from this piece, but part of the hallway is coming from this piece, right? It's gonna be really important for them to see that so that they understand what you're doing. Now, you don't have to send this to them electronically. You can print it out. I mean, if they're not tech savvy, that's okay. Just print it out and show it to them on paper, right? Most installers don't pay attention to seaming diagrams anyway. This is more for you to know that you've ordered enough carpet.
yeah, for me, it's ordering enough carpet, and like I said before, trying to minimize mega rolls. So.
Right.
So even if it's just getting all the bedrooms on one cut and even breaking it in half,
Sure.
yeah.
And frankly, I did see the note that Ashley put out there about ordering extra carpet. This is an inspired sale week for me, and I knew that we were doing this today, which is why I didn't pipe in there. I hope Ashley will watch this after the fact. She probably will, but she didn't wake up early like Dave. We're going to question her commitment at this point. We will question her commitment. And if she watches this video, then she can challenge me on that, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, I don't recommend just adding a bunch of fluff to your estimates. I recommend finding operational processes that help you get things tight without adding a lot of fluff.
And that's
Right.
where I'm at, quite frankly, because I see the scraps that are left after, and I'm like, that should be in my pocket or
Right.
somewhere else besides in the corner of the customer's garage.
So if I take and when I create my carpet, if I create a 3 inch, not foot, a 3 inch length margin and a 3 inch width margin, then I've added it in there. So I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about trying to add 6 inches here and 6 inches there, right? It's just, it adds up really fast.
Well, I've got a customer meeting in 30 minutes.
All right.
So I got to jump, but thank you, Arlen. I'm going to be
Cool.
back and forth on this a lot, I'm sure.
Well, like I said, guys, when you do decide to do one of these, if you get stuck, by all means, reach out. Be happy to help you. A lot of stuff happening this week. So I've got Inspired Sale this week. I've got launch next week for the July class. That'll be 11 or 12 businesses that crank up and get running. Then we've got pre-launch for the September class. And as it stands right now, the September class has 24 businesses in it. So that's going to be a big class coming through. Big class. Good stuff. All right, team. Well, unless somebody has something else, I will give you back the rest of your day and you guys go land a bunch of work and
Thank you.
go live the dream.
Bye,
Let's do it.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arlen.
Bye.
Stay